Hey everyone, I'm Braden Cruz, your host with Sooner Marketing Solutions, and my job is to figure out ways to get you attention.
Abel Rodriguez with ARC Outdoorsman, where we are creating and maintaining your outdoor living.
Chance Jones with Threaded Industries, where we are a clothing brand built upon giving back.
Stone Shoe, Stone Co Downflow, Seamless Guttering, Got Flow.
So today's topic is time management tips. Man, I love trying to figure out ways to optimize my time and where I spend my time and who I spend my time with. And it's funny, as you get older, you kind of realize, especially if you've got kids, right, that your time is really valuable and you got a family to be with and provide for and stuff like that. You kind of get out of the, oh, it's just me, I want to spend time with my friends, right? And you're like, man, I got to make sure I don't know about you guys. I only spend like an hour or two a day during the week with family.
Same.
If that. I mean, sometimes you get home at 7:00. It's dinner. It's animals, dogs, pets, take care of them, do laundry, get them to bed, whatever it is. If you get home before 7, let's say you get home at 5 and you're lucky, right? Okay, cool. And now you got an hour, try to run outside, play ball with them or something like that. But, sometimes it's tough managing your time, and it's even harder when you got a family and you got a business, right? And even when you're a small business, when you don't have a lot of team members around to help support you and help fill in those roles, and it is all up to you, everything, billing, admin, customer service, delivering the service, everything, right? So it gets stressful. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to introduce Sebastian with Hayes Chiropractic. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Keep in mind, you want to be like 4 hands away.
4 hands.
Don't lick the mic.
No. All right.
Not like his coffee cup.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need.
Sounds good.
Licking. But so tell me a little bit about what you do.
I'm a chiropractor here in Midtown Tulsa. We focus on soft and gentle chiropractic care for the entire family. And my wife and I actually practice together. She's been a chiropractor since 2011.
So that's pretty cool. How long have you been doing it?
I graduated back in August. I used to be in oil and gas work, on call 24/7. Needed to do something different with my life. Honestly, I've never done anything more fulfilling than chiropractic care, where we're getting people better naturally with just our hands. So
that's pretty cool. So there's a lot of chiropractors out there.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of, you can drive down the street and see a lot. And what makes you different compared to the rest? Like, is there a different process? Is there a different type of customer service thing that you do, or what?
Customer service is huge for us. We like to say that we serve people. So for us, we're taking your time into consideration when you come into our office. So we try to take out a lot of the random conversation that you might have in our office and focus just purely on your health. When you do that, it kind of enables us to focus in a shorter time frame for your appointment.
Gotcha. Do you have any of those fancy tools where they sit there and what are the electrodes or whatever, where they mess with your muscles and you start spazzing? Do you have any of those fancy tools, or some of those chiropractic offices, they have those, or the rolling tables and stuff like that?
So we have a couple things that we do. We do auricular acupuncture with an electro E-stim type of unit. And then we do needleless acupuncture. My wife is actually the acupuncturist in the office, so she'll do anything that has anything to do with needles. Outside of that, chiropractic is kind of purely hands-on for us. And then we do intersegmental traction for therapies afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What's been going on in your week this week?
We had a lot of stuff going on. Honestly, my wife's been out of the office this week. I've been able to run it, which is awesome for us to be able to do things like that, where she can kind of focus on the family stuff. And then if we need it, I can jump in and kind of take care of all the patients that are in the office for that week.
Nice.
This week's been kind of fun.
Yeah, this week's for me has been a little bit less of sales stuff. Last 2 weeks, I've been really working with Bobby on making some calls and sending out some emails or doing some walk-ins and things like that. But this week we've been working a little bit more on some process, catching up with client stuff and looking at reports and trying to prepare for next month and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I've been up to this week. What about you, Abel?
Not as much work as I wish. Kind of the same as you. It's that, as I was talking to Sebastian earlier, it's hot right now. Everything's pretty well dead or stopped growing. So really a lot of what I did this week has been more networking, trying to, just touch base with some of those relationships that I built over time, and, just touching base on areas where I should have. You shouldn't lose track of those people, but, kind of catching up, and at the same time, working on buying a car. So that's been kind of taking up a lot of my mental space.
I hate buying a car.
It's the worst.
I bought a car in April. Nope, I lied. February. Still don't have the title for it.
There's supposed to be some issue with the title paper in Oklahoma right now. Like they can't get title paper.
So we bought it came from Texas. It was not Vroom. It was one of the other companies.
Carvana?
No, it was Vroom actually. Oh. Yep, yeah, it was. It wasn't Carvana, but Carvana's having the same issues though too. There's some states where they just completely won't let Carvana or Vroom service or sell or buy or trade or anything like that because they just lose titles left and right. So I've heard it's these mobile dealerships, these virtual dealerships or whatever, right? That can't keep track of the titles. But then Texas too, some of these states are title holding states. Yeah. And so who has a title? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got to go through signature or pass hands, and you're just like, come on. But yeah, still don't have the title. I went a year and a half once without having a title on my last truck. It was 3.5 times what it should have been. Nobody was going to pay for it because it was private party. I was livid. So yeah. So this one's going to be expensive too.
I mean, it's nothing of your fault.
That's like a whole nother thing I got to think about buying a car. Thanks. Just made it that much worse.
Another $2, $3, $4 whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever.
Stupid.
Is Kyla Indian?
Dude, have you seen her?
I mean, I was just asking.
She's as white as they come. I'm Mexican. Well, there's no benefits here.
Oh, man.
It's just the truth.
Yeah, is what it is, man.
So, Chance, what are you up to this week, man?
Sales are about average. Yesterday, my shock blew on my car, so I'm down a car right now, and that's my main piece of advertisement. So
on your Porsche?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so got to fix that so I can get the car back on the road to start making some more sales, but not bad. Could always be worse.
Is that helping you with sales?
I think so. I hope so. I've gotten a few more just like local around the area that I don't know who they are, but I guess have seen my car because it happens like almost immediately after I'm driving around. So
half of your sales came from social media. I don't know if that's friends or family or what.
Most of them have been friends and family. Yeah. There's only, I think, out of the 100 or so orders, like 5 or 6 names I don't recognize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a big deal.
That's something we were looking at this morning and yesterday.
Yeah. We'll get there. It takes time. I understand that. But, yeah, it'll happen. I'm not worried about it.
Maddie and I have some ideas we want to share with you after the podcast.
Totally down for that.
People really notice his car, and it was funny. We were talking about it, and like in the process of talking about it, I was watching the cameras at the shop, and somebody's like literally took it out and just like stared at his car. And then the next day, everybody in the shop complex or whatever was like, who the hell is driving that Porsche? I'm like, oh yeah, that's my buddy. Go buy some clothes.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece of machine.
Thank you.
Man,
Thank
it's
you.
Gorgeous.
That's my dream car for 8 years. It took 8 years, but I got it finally. So I'm very happy of it. I'm very proud of it.
So back to the time management thing. Abel, how do you do that? How do you try to manage your time and balance work, personal, family? That family can include all you guys together. It could include you and your wife, you and your kids. And we need a signal, it's like something like baseball. If you got to mute me, right?
Yeah.
I got a cough.
Yeah.
Man. So wake up early. That's about all I got. And then stick to my schedule. I try to do my schedule for the following day, or at least overview it every night, the night before. Which I hate that I do that because it's a bad habit. It's almost like I can't go to sleep without looking at my schedule for the following day. But it's almost like I'm mentally preparing myself. For a while there, it was kind of learning to use my calendar and schedule. And I'd wake up in the morning and, I already wake up at like 4:30 and get up and start taking a shower and everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, by the way, at 6 o'clock this morning. And I'm like, I'm already up at the ass crack of dawn and I'm still late. So I got to the point where now I look at my schedule in the evenings, and just mentally prepare myself for, hey, in the morning, you can't slack around, or, hey, you got a little bit of time, you can make yourself some breakfast or something. And, so that's like my biggest thing that I do is just look at my next day, the day before. That helps me tremendously. And then calendar, man, you got to stick to your calendar. That is like my biggest thing. And if something pops into my head, whatever it is, I always tell myself, like, I would literally stop right then. Well, our phones are smart now, so I can just literally tell my phone, hey, do this, and then boom, it's in my calendar, and it's set and actually gets done. And then sometimes when it doesn't happen, it's easy to move around. At least it doesn't have to just jumble somewhere in your brain.
Yeah, I'll never use my calendar for like tasks and be like tedious, like, I got to go to the bathroom. Okay, now I got to write this down, and don't worry about some people do that and they get really crazy with it. But mine is like, I need to make sure I block out a time for doing this project or a time for working with somebody on this, things like that. And I've tried to instill some of this in my team too and say, hey, on Fridays, before you leave the office, know a general idea of what you need to do next week. Have all that organized. So when you walk in on Monday, you're good to go. Right?
100%.
What about you, Shades?
So actually, on time management, when it comes to me, I carry three different types of calendars. I have a monthly calendar, my daily calendar, and then my calendar on my phone.
Is this paper or virtual?
The daily calendar and the monthly calendar are paper, and my phone calendar is obviously virtual.
Yeah, and there's some people that just can't do virtual thing. Like,
yeah,
don't make me Google Calendar this.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get used to that. So what I do at the beginning of every month, I lay out my month, like when bills are due and all, just your generic monthly stuff that happens every month. And then at the every first Sunday, I will basically lay out every Sunday, I lay out the week, kind of like my structure. And then I'll go in and base out my days. So my day starts usually at like 4:35 a.m. and I'm done with my morning by 8 a.m. So I'm done with the gym. I've already got my meditation, reading, all that stuff. That way, if I do have a bad day after 8, it's not a big deal because I've already had my good morning,
Dude, the weather changes though. My allergies and my whole sinuses have been screwed the last 3 weeks. We all can't work outdoors.
Yeah.
I don't work outdoors really anymore.
You're good to it.
But yeah, so daily schedule, I have my mornings, and then that way if I have a bad day, it's not that big of a deal. I get more done in the mornings than most people do in the entire day. So, and then just block out my day. I try to be done by like 5, 6 o'clock, which is really easy for me because the clothing business is mine. So I don't have to really go to all day doing something for someone else. So, but yeah, I'm done by 5, enjoy my weekends, and just, like you said, maintain that schedule. If something happens, then something happens, but try to stick with the schedule. That's my time management tip.
Sebastian, what about you? I know you kind of live on a schedule when it comes to work, huh?
We are 100% on schedule, at home, at work, personal, everything in between. For us, I'm a paper calendar guy.
Same.
I am 100% paper. I like having it. It's like tangible. I can look at it. It's amazing. For some reason, when I look at like my phone calendar, it's easy for me to snooze reminders. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I look at it, I'm like, oh, I'll get to it in a second. Whenever I like lay out my planner and I like take a look at it, I've got my to-do list that, every week I've got a to-do list, and I don't put got to go to the bathroom or anything like that on there, but there's definitely some stuff that like I know will be easy to check off. And that easy check off is something psychological, I feel like, that is going in my head saying like, hey man, you got something done.
Oh yeah.
And so it feels good. And then you go on to the next thing knowing that you're getting stuff done. So I think that like doing stuff like that kind of helps me out just to keep me kind of going. I also try to remember like not every day has to be a perfect day.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just one step in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other.
1% every day is better than no movement.
I feel like 20% of the time I call your office. I'm like, hey, I need to come tomorrow. And you see mine just disappear on your schedule.
Yeah, it is. Things come up. It's life.
Oh yeah.
But as long as you've got like kind of a plan or something going on to tell you what's next for you in your busy life, it helps keep you on track. If you don't have anything written down, no to-do list, no calendar, anything like that, you're looking at this huge, massive monster, and there's no way for you to take that guy on. You got to just go piece by piece, right?
Right.
I have a daily rolling to-do list.
Okay.
And what I like is I like to be able to look at the end of my day and go, see how many things I've marked off. And sometimes it makes me feel productive, but I try to make sure it's not just, I don't know, little things that don't actually move something forward. Right. But I like being able to know, like being able to look at it and be like, what, sometimes I ask myself, what did I do today? What in the world did I spend all my time on? And so by sometimes checking it off or crossing it out, it kind of helps me look back and reflect and go, okay, I feel accomplished. I can close out my brain, create my tasks for tomorrow, and go home, enjoy my family, enjoy my me time, or whatever it is. Or maybe I need to go home, switch my brain over to being at home kind of mode. And then maybe I dedicate an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is, whenever I'm done with that, and know that, okay, this is what I need to do to finish up my day. And then tomorrow I can work on that list. Right.
So is your to-do list physical or is it virtual?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So for the most part, like, let's say all these revisions that I have to Chance's brand guide, I jumped in at the end right before it was about to be completely finished, and we're going to turn that into a really cool binder booklet thing for you.
Thank you.
Whenever we send it all off to print. So that is something that I look at that's physical, and I'm like, okay, this is something that I'm working on right now or this week, and I need to make sure I get something done with that or whatever it is. So those are it's physical if it's like today or tomorrow. Even then, I still have that duplicated in a virtual task because I need to make sure that other team members are involved on that. Mm-hmm. If I lose my sheet, I spill my coffee on it, there goes my sheet, and I got to make something new. I don't know. There's a number of reasons why I also like it having virtual. Then the biggest one is so that I can keep my other team members on track. Let them know this is what I'm doing. This is what's going on. Don't start assigning stuff to me, whatever it is. And it's also a part of a bigger project, you know? So I kind of got both. Little tedious things, I'll write it down. I won't put it virtually. Bigger picture stuff or project-based tasks and stuff like that, I'll leave virtual.
I was just wondering because I also have, you say yes. I mean, that's it. Like my day to day is mostly on my schedule. Now, as you guys know, I meet with a lot of customers and on site. We use a CRM software for that. And hey, you know, it's scheduled, say, Monday at 8 a.m. When I go meet with that customer, I kind of go over what the plan is for that particular project. I will, before I even leave site, block out time at the end of the week to work on their particular bid. And that obviously varies by project, but on a day to day, every kind of goes back to the planning my day the day before. Every day I have a regular notebook, that I split every sheet into 4s. Top left corner is working on the business. Top right corner is warranties, which I don't like that corner. Usually it stays empty. I try to keep it empty. Bottom left corner is jobs going. So anything I have going within the next week or two that I need to do something on. Like, for instance, let's say I was doing something in your house and I needed to go find plants. It would literally say braiding crews, go to the nursery, tag plants. And that's more or less a to-do list. And then on the right are my leads or projects I haven't actually seen, aren't going yet, I'm trying to knock out. And that kind of goes back to Sebastian, like the easy task. A lot of that is just like, if you're a new lead, call Braden and schedule. That would go on my right hand, easy, can get done. And as it kind of moves up my squares, it's more important. My top left square is obviously the most important, although that seems to be my hardest square to figure out what to put in. Even though I know there's a ton I could work on the business, but
oh yeah, I mean that list never ends.
No, it never
We're trying
ends.
to improve and make something better or whatever it is. Like
right,
man.
and but again, kind of going down to not every day has to be perfect. Some days it literally just like read a book, and that's it. Like read a book, and it's like, wow, if I read my book for an hour, I was working on the business. That's good enough for me.
Yep.
So I know you guys listening can't see this, and even on the live, but like this is the virtual to-do list. Today, overdue. This is everything in the entire company. I can see it all the way out to next Wednesday and next week. Who it's for, what it's for, if anybody else is involved on the project, the due date, the priority, the status that it's in, time track, time estimates, any files that are uploaded, if there's any invoices or whatever that should be attached to those tasks, if it needs to move on to the next stage. Like a lot of this stuff too is automated. So once it completes, like when Devin does his job and he's done with his task, that task is going to move on to the next status, reassigned to the next person, go to this list, and it goes on through the next process, which is what you and me have talked about too. And I think time management can definitely relate to process building and being efficient.
Oh, yeah. And see, mine is, as I've said before, I have a lot of people on my team. Those people don't necessarily cooperate. So you
and me talked about like working on your processes and stuff together,
right?
Which I love. Right. I'll geek out on. It's a lot of if thens, then what, if that, then this type stuff.
Right.
But just getting a poster board, getting some sticky notes, assigning colors as different people or different departments or whatever it is.
Which, if saying that, and Sebastian, we talked before about your blue books, right?
Yeah.
It helps alleviate. Obviously, as you know, my processes are terrible, but it's having something in place like that helps your team also kind of with their time management. So I don't necessarily think, my team's not terrible. We have a great team, but when it comes to time management, well, I think we could all use a little bit of work. And if we had processes in place to help with the time management, it might help encourage others to, and especially the accountability aspect with your list there, everybody sees who's slacking, who's not. That's huge. I know for us, we have weekly meetings.
Which those can be a huge expense for a company.
Weekly meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
If you're paying someone $15 an hour and you have 10 people there.
Yeah.
And yourself.
That's true.
And you 2-hour meeting.
Oh, 2 hours. That's way too long, dude.
I'm thinking like 15 minutes.
But that doesn't happen sometimes. Not unless you're presenting. If you're going to present to 10 people, that can run through in 15, 20 minutes and be done. But if you want people to be involved and give feedback or update status or whatever it is, like there's communication back and forth, that'll easily 3 to 4 times.
So we have a meeting every day, every single day, an hour long, going over separate topics. And, frankly, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it actually works really well for us to make sure everybody's on top of it, on top of everything. So like on Tuesdays, we go over the schedule and any new leads. On Wednesday, we go over AR and our hours for the week. So like how many hours we've already paid out for the week. Thursdays are schedule and leads again, kind of touching base on, hey, who's been talked to, who hasn't. And then Fridays are, AR or AP and what we call the final numbers, the spreadsheet I sent you of more or less where the money's going this week, how we did this week, and kind of so on and so forth. So every single week there's an hour long, every single day there's an hour long meeting, and it's terrible, but I don't have to think about that like you. Like everybody that's involved in the meetings is on salary, so show up.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's salary or hourly,
right.
It's still costing money.
Oh yeah, for
it's
sure.
It's still resources, time, right?
For sure.
The only reason why I think you are where you are is because of how organized you are, how tedious, because I feel like that you're pretty well organized. I feel like you're I think you're well-rounded in your position. Do you know CEOs spend 72% of their time in meetings? Yeah, they work on average 62 to 68 hours a week.
Dang, I got rookie numbers. Bump those up.
Need to bump them up.
What about you, Sebastian? What kind of meetings do you guys have, or how do you guys do your?
So for us, one of the most important things is during patient hours. It's patient hours,
right?
So our staff knows that in between 9:30 and 12:30, and then 3 and 6, it's got to be like life or death for any type of interruption between patient to patient, right? So between shifts, before shifts, or after shifts are usually whenever we talk about things. We're going through, we treat anywhere from 300 to 400 patients every week. And for us, it's important that the quality of care is the same for every single patient. So if something comes up that is going to alter the quality of care, we need to know. And those are the types of things that we meet about before shift. Right. So like if there's anything with their financials or anything that we need to kind of like work on to make sure that they have the experience that we expect, then those are the meetings that we have. Outside of that, we put a lot of trust into our staff. We really, really do love them. We treat them like family. They are family, and they understand that we are a unit together. Right. So if one person falls short, we all fall short. And so for us, the meetings are always about being all on the same page, everybody getting along, nobody having any hard feelings with somebody doing more than another person. And that goes back to the blue books, right? So those processes that we have in our office, those books were created by my wife's dad many, many, many years ago that just kind of helps the office just run the way that it's supposed to run. things come up. They always are going to come up. And that's why the before shift is the time that we usually kind of meet with anything that comes up that's outside of the norm.
Nice. Chance?
Nah, I think it's awesome, honestly. Coming from a business of family where you never had that, structure, you just got out and did what you needed to do every day. You knew what you needed to do because you knew how everyone in the business knows how it runs. Everyone has a part to play. We never had meetings. We just had go to get to work. So it's a lot different than y'all.
I'm so curious to see what that dynamic is like.
It makes money, man.
Interesting.
That's about it.
Can you share like what the day is like? You say just show up and get to work, but like, how does that work?
So you'll have, trucks down. So you'll have to go work on a truck but what's most important every day is facilitating your customers, so we do a lot of local, or did a lot of local, they still do, they're still good at it. So they did a lot of local. Every morning you'll have what's called the trailer rush. So it had a routine of the day, but so you get every trailer that has to go out that morning so they can get to wherever they got to go. So they're, bright and early to the customer. You're not late. And, you'll have trucks down. You'll have to work on them whenever you get time. Trailers need to be rebuilt. Sometimes you'll have to load coolers out and, have to go get the crane, service the crane. It just, you kind of just knew what to do because, it's been the same way since the 40s, man. They've been doing it forever. I grew up watching the processes. I never had to go to a meeting or nothing. I just knew what the next step was. So you just kind of fall into place after 60 years, 70 years of doing something. It's just second nature.
So I wonder how I can speed people up when you're hiring them and bringing them into a company that doesn't have 60 years of experience. They have 6 hours.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, right? So it's like, how can you bring in somebody new and get them up to speed as fast as possible, right?
Blue books.
That's our first step. Literally. The second we hire somebody, they're handed blue books. They read them, they go through them, they learn them.
So what happens whenever somebody says, "Oh, I'm not going to read this book"?
Sorry, you don't work here.
Dude, honestly, we won't deviate from that ever.
That's good. That is good.
It's patience. It's always going to be patience first. Always. It doesn't matter who comes in. If anything, it's always going to be performed exactly how we want it. And if you're not going to be on part of that, I'm sure there's somebody else we can find. No hard feelings at all.
It's your business to run it how you want it.
It is.
If it's a process you've built and it works,
right,
then why deviate? You know?
And one of the most important questions, when you deal with somebody like that, right? Our question to them is, and it's not really a question. It's more like, it doesn't seem like this is a place that's making you happy. Right. And usually with that statement, whoever it is going to say, you know what, you're right. It's not really my spot. Or I've been going through a bunch of stuff at home, or I've got this stuff going on. And then now you have an understanding of where they're at. You can meet them on that path. But without knowing that, we're not going to take these guesses and be like, okay, let's go a month and see how you do. It's no, we need you to learn this. If you don't want to, it's okay.
Yeah.
And that's a way of you controlling your time management, because you're not expecting to take all this time, as Braden was talking about, speeding someone up in the process is saving you. Because as you said, between the core hours, those are your patience times.
Right.
Having your books allows you to let them learn on their own terms, more or less. But if I remember correctly, you said there's in that book specific timelines.
You remembered.
Yeah, right. Specific timelines of when you're supposed to know how to do certain things, right?
100%.
That alleviates on your end as a business owner a lot of the stress of why aren't you doing X, Y, Z, when you're like, hey, well, if you read the books and you're holding yourself accountable and we're holding you accountable, you've got a million other problems to solve, plus taking care of your patients,
right?
So that's a huge, you got me way beat there.
Nowadays, it seems as if everybody just kind of wants to just take a paycheck.
Oh yeah.
The younger
no one wants
crowd,
to work.
No one wants to work. They want to show up somewhere, 8 to 5, whatever it is, get a paycheck at the end of the week, go off, blow it all, come back the next week, do it again.
Those aren't your type of people.
Well, we don't
It's
like
not
that.
your thing.
It's not what we want.
Yeah.
At all. Because if you walk into a chiropractic office and the 2 staff that are standing up there don't even greet you, it's not a warm, fuzzy feeling, right? Like you're walking in and it's just cold. You're there to get better, feel better, and you're just like, where am I?
Man, I got lucky with my team.
Yeah.
I feel like I did. And Maddie, too, she's the newest member. Coming close to 60 days in, about 45 days in, she's like, I got this. And I know when she's got this when I hear somebody, when I hear one of my customers or clients or Abel comes in, he's like, hey, Maddie's done a good job. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, I can breathe now.
Yeah, I mean, she's been great. Like I said, since she came on board, I mean, I've noticed a huge difference in just the quality and the care to our, social media. Not only that, something that I actually really like. And some people might seem, again, not the people you want to hang out with, obviously, you start to realize, but some people may seem, oh, it's overbearing. But every time I come in, she asks, hey, how's it doing? How's that post doing? Is there anything I could change? And again, some people may not like that. Some people may be like, well, I already told you how to do it, blah, blah, blah. And I like that she's constantly on top of, more or less like if you were walking in your office, just because you said hi to me last week doesn't mean you can't say hi to me again this week type deal, So I really like that she is on top of it. And I think, like, again, you can just tell she cares, and a lot of that comes down to, as we talked last week, we're kind of starting to figure out our core values in our company. And I think a lot of she takes a lot of pride in the work that she's doing for you, which shows. And as I told you before too, I mean, I like your team, obviously only you know how they run. They seem very efficient. I mean, everything gets to me on time. And then as far as like even Devin coming out, I mean, he's very rarely late. And if he's late, it's because Google took him the wrong place, and he calls right. And he's like, hey, I don't think this is the right place. I don't see any crews. I don't see any XYZ. But he's again, the time management that you've put through on your team really shows, because there is consistency in that. Mm-hmm. Now, again, as we've all established, there's things that go wrong. There's no denying that in our everyday lives, but for
like when we work with you or some outdoor clients, it's raining right now. Yeah. We had a schedule. The whole schedule for Devin is wiped today.
Right.
I mean, it's a good editing day. He needs those days.
Right.
But he has to quickly be able to adjust, communicate, and move on.
Right. Right. And like I said, I think that consistency in your team it really shows. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate is, if I ask for something to be done, I don't necessarily expect it, I don't expect you to drop everything and do it now, but within a reasonable manner, it gets done. That's like if I texted Sebastian, it's like, hey, by the way, I need you to adjust my back like within an hour. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. That's unrealistic expectations. But a couple of days or whatever, he might be able to squeeze me in, and that would work. Again, that's reasonable. And a lot of it goes down to, like I said, as the leaders of the company, how your time management is. And then I think if we are sloppy, everybody else underneath us gets sloppy, and there's that whole thing, setting the temperature in the room, setting the temperature in your company. And a lot of that comes down to even like, patient hours are patient hours.
Right.
And because if you looked at your team and you're like, yeah, here's a book, it's more of just like some ideas. It's a guideline, but it's kind of like the speed limit. If you want to go past it, more power to you. If you want to follow it or not, I don't care, but here's just some ideas. You're like, no, this is the playbook.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're stressing me out with that.
Don't change what I've set in place.
Yeah.
If our staff is listening, still follow it.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, right? I mean, if you set the standard, you set the tone, somebody needs to follow your pace or go find something else that suits them better. Right.
Yeah. And no hard feelings.
Yeah.
At all.
You don't have to work here.
No.
He does. It's going to be his business.
Yeah. It's my name on it.
Yeah.
The government's going to ask me for.
That's why you have to do what he says. I mean, that's just how it works.
It is. And we're nice about it. I mean, we're not crazy.
Right.
Not rude.
We might be a little crazy, but
we all
politely.
Yeah.
Polite crazy. It's okay.
Like,
yeah.
Do these.
Or else.
I've been told that I live Mach 5 with my hair on fire. Going back to that Top Gun statement.
What's wrong with that? Talk to me, Goose.
It's like you're living in fast forward. Was that Kenny Chesney song, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Why have you been told that?
Because I'm always like going. I don't stop. Like my brain's always running. I'm always doing something, doing something with somebody, trying to make a new move with work. Like the studio, 2 or 3 months old. Like this is new. It's an idea that I've had for a while. Wanted to implement and set up and stuff. So I mean, that's new. We've got merchandise on our store now that we're putting together. So we're gonna have like, I don't know, check out my podcast and a t-shirt or a hat and things like that you can buy or whatever. It's things that are kind of relative to some of our services. So we're trying to come up with like different merchandise design ideas and things like that to implement, mugs or whatever it is, you know. Then there's different packages or different pricings that I'm always trying to think of and consider. I'm like, okay, well, who could this apply to? Maybe we come up with a chiropractic marketing plan and it's applicable to $300 a month. It works on this, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's valuable and maybe it's 1,000. I don't know, whatever it is, right? And then let's get that out to everybody. Let's come up with ways to create some new videos or new blogs, new service pages. Anytime we create a new service page, it helps out with like SEO and stuff like that. So people are looking for photography, for commercial stuff, then I want them to go to the photography page. They can look at some things. They can sign up there and be like, oh, yeah, I love it. Pay for it and move on. We get the order, call them, move on.
So do you block out time to get all this stuff out of your head? Or how do you manage your time to actually implement these ideas?
Clients come first, projects come first. So making sure that the deliverables making sure what we promise is delivered, that comes first. And then, usually Mondays and Fridays, I try to block out some time. Mondays we have our team meetings and then some time on the afternoons on both of those. Or anytime, I guess, I don't know. I try to block up some time on Mondays to work on improvements, right? So Mondays are like meetings, improvements, planning, working with team members on supporting team members any way that I need to. So it's like, hey, you know, what do you have going on this week that you're going to need help with? Or, you know, do you need help with anything right now? Or, hey, what do you have going on this week that I need to be aware of or need to be a part of? Anytime I get ideas or things, I'm like, oh man, we really need to implement this. It goes into a list that we have in our software. That's an improvements list. And it says, we need to work on, our video production process. I'll be assigned to that with Devin. I'll put in my notes and ideas. And then next Monday or the upcoming Monday, when we kind of plan out our weeks and we're not going out and doing stuff usually, I'll put time there and I'll put something on the calendar as well and say, hey, Devin, you know, we need to get together on this date and this time. And then he can accept, decline it, move it, put in his thoughts, his ideas. And when it comes time for us to discuss it, all of our notes are there in that task. Does that answer your question pretty well?
Yeah. What about you, Sebastian?
Man, I try to like manage my thoughts a little bit more because I'm still on the growth side of things, right? So my wife's been doing this for a long, long time. She's got a ton of patients. I'm still kind of growing my patient base. And it's really hard because like all day, every day, you're just constantly thinking, what can I be doing? What else is there? What else is there? And then I'll look up at my wife and she'll say, it's family time. You know, and it's good. It's like a healthy balance. It really is a healthy balance because like at 8:30 at night, we've been working all day.
Yeah.
We work together.
Literally so 12 hours or more.
Let's just put a pin in it.
Yep. Talk about it tomorrow.
It's not going to change at 9:30 at night, right?
So I have to get it out of my head. So if I just think about it, I don't do anything with it, I will forget it. It'll be gone. Right.
You got to write it down.
So I got to write it down. I'll usually just put it again in like my improvements list in the software I use, and then put a date on it. And I'll see that come up in my list from what I have going on for next week or this week or today. And I'll go, oh yeah, I need to make time to make sure I've either work on that myself, work on that with somebody, and continue on those thoughts or those feelings that I had when I remembered it. I'm like, oh, let me finish that out, you know?
Right. Yeah. Just making sure that you're not turning one problem into two problems, right? So you got to, and it's not even a problem, right? So this is business. Like you've got these things that you're wanting for your business, right? But you're also wanting your family. So making one problem into two problems is trying to do both of those simultaneously. And those things don't really go together, to be honest with you. I mean, you got all these thoughts, you got to write them down, you got to do something, and then just kind of like focus in the conversations. And that's something that I had to learn coming out of school is a lot of times I would be having conversations with family or whoever, and my brain was thinking completely something different. Yeah. So I could be looking at you, we're having this conversation, we're talking, it feels great.
You're not even paying attention at all.
My brain is thinking like, did you send that email? Did you do that?
Yeah. I think that happens to more than just you. I mean, it happens to everybody, in my opinion.
But that's hard, right?
So that's what I can feel like I can relate to when I say I live my life Mach 5 with my hair on fire. It's because my brain's always running, and it's caused me some issues with not feeling or being in the present.
Yeah.
You know, because
Same.
I'm always thinking of something else, something new, something whatever. And over the last year and a half, I've been able to learn how to be more in the present. So like right now, I'm not thinking of anything I need to improve on. I'm not thinking of any projects. I'm not thinking of any billables, deliverables, whatever it is, right? Like I'm here listening to you guys. And I've also tried to learn to active listen at the same time of being present. This, I think it's relevant. Take a moment. That sometimes people get uncomfortable with the pauses, like the silence. They're like thinking it's like all quiet. Where's my button? There it is. They get all quiet with those, right? And they're like,
you okay?
Nobody's talking.
Yeah.
But listen and then take a moment and respond.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like, I will think of what I want to respond with as you're talking. And I'm like,
not healthy.
I'm not listening.
No.
I hear you, but I'm only hearing part of what you're saying.
Yeah, because now I'm devoting my thought process to what am I going to say instead of listening to the rest of what you have to say, and then taking a moment and thinking about it and then answering the question.
Yeah.
So, Chance, I'm curious how you get these ideas out of your head.
Write them down. I absolutely have to write things down. My mind is just like yours and yours, and it goes 90 to nothing, 24/7. And if I don't write it down, I do forget it. And then I guess it's kind of like it's not a bad thing because I forgot it, so it wasn't that important. But if I think it's important, I always try to write it down. And at the end of every day, I go through what I've written down to that day. And if it's something I need to do tomorrow, something I need to schedule out for the rest of the week, you know, if it's something I need to put on my to-do list, I do that at night between 10 and 11. So that goes back to my daily schedule.
You never sleep, do you?
I sleep like 4 hours a night.
There's no way.
My average
4 or 5 hours a night.
Over the last year is 5.5 hours.
Dude, there's no way.
Mine is probably
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I am in bed about 6 hours.
Bedtime's
But I'm actually sleeping about 5.5.
Oh no! Once I hit the bed, bro, which my wife, she gets so upset about it. I go to bed, bro, and I knock out. She's like, I don't understand how you fall asleep so fast. As soon as you hit the pillow, you're dead. And I'm like, yeah, because I got to be up, and I want to sleep when I sleep. She's like, you sleep hard as crap, and I'm like, yeah, because that's my time to sleep. I get good sleep in those 3 to 4 hours. That's how I run on 3 to 4 hours.
That's awesome.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm used to it. I've been doing it for years.
If you ever have kids, that's not going to work anymore.
I'll just slap the kids.
Oh, you don't have kids yet?
No.
That'll change.
The kids will change it all. And that's why I say when I say bedtime's 8, I mean bedtime's 8. Like,
yeah,
kids go to sleep.
I believe in a
I'm
bedtime.
doing everything
100%.
I can to stay awake to make it back to my bed to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I'm up at 4:30, you know, but I need my beauty sleep. Without it, I'm literally foggy the next morning. And I'm just like, this sucks.
I feel like I get better. Like if I sleep longer than 6 hours, I feel terrible.
Groggy.
Yes.
Yeah. I know what you mean. If I sleep 8 hours or 10 hours, no.
I do
and
that
I can't
probably.
take naps either.
I'll do that probably once a month. I'll sleep a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But consistently 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night's all I get.
It's nuts. I remember some of my best sleep.
Like, do I look tired though?
No.
No, I feel fine.
You just drink whole
don't.
coffee.
Just like Abel
That's
said.
actually just
Kids.
like milk and vanilla. Like there's no coffee actually in it. I don't like coffee. I'm weird.
Take him to a nice
Good thing
restaurant.
you're not
orders
lactose
chicken
He's like,
and
is
all
it
I'm pretty sure I
too
am.
early for a beer?
that. I know, right?
I read a statistic. It's like 2/3 of everyone in America is lactose intolerant or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I am, but I don't even care. It tastes good, so I'll do it. I'll suffer.
Suffer.
That's my life.
So back to the time management aspect. So on Saturdays, I met with you last Saturday. Those are my days when I work on the business. So as you guys know, my office is crazy. I mean, in the mornings especially, I don't get time to myself. I mean, I try to show up early so I can have some quiet time before everybody gets there. But as I'm sure you guys have found, it takes like 30 minutes to get into your rhythm of whatever it is you're doing. And I get there early I get there at 6 while everybody else starts rolling in at 6:30. And by that time, everybody's, hey, good morning. And it's not bad. I'm happy for it. I like the interaction, but I don't get that quiet time to just think and be in the silence on my own thoughts. So Saturdays are my days when, I might still have some interruptions in the day. Cause sometimes there's some guys working on Saturday, or sometimes, one of my brothers will pop in for whatever, but I know that for the most part, Saturdays are the office is mine. And so like I share an office, as you saw, and it drives me nuts because, well, my brain isn't on the same wavelength as my brothers. Whatever music they're playing, they tend to always like, oh yeah, that's good music, whatever. And it's like, well, I'm not feeling that today. Not that it's bad music. I'm just not feeling that today. So then I have to put in my headphones at my buds, and I just hate having something in my ear. So like Saturdays are the days where music's playing loud, whatever I want. I don't really have to factor in anybody else's emotions or anything like that. Phone, I don't answer the phone. So Saturdays are my day when I'm the most productive as far as myself. Again, that may literally just be me reading for the whole day. But most of the time it's me working on some sort of process or something that I think is important, like the profit share sheet that, that I showed you. I made that on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we talked about on our last episode.
Right. And then, so like this Saturday, tomorrow, I'm going to start working on we are trying to fine tune our core values within the company, so that way we can present it to everybody and whatnot. And, which again, from my reading came from the book Traction. So I'm trying to figure out what our core values are, and we've got them pretty well figured out to 6 core values of what I think is we're going to hold highest regard in our company. And an idea that's kind of been festering in my head is poster boards and stuff that I can put up around the office and around the shop. That way people see it and get reminded constantly of these things. And so our core values, and I'm like thinking, okay, what are I kind of designing them in my head? Tomorrow I'll put them down on paper to some degree, what I think I want them to be. And then I want to do more or less like what our core value is. And then a quote that kind of emphasizes a certain part of that core value. So like teamwork is one of our core values. It's kind of big.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Right.
There's your quote.
No. There's yes, but no.
Didn't I say that in high school? Like all the time?
Yes.
So I worked on a 7 P's of marketing poster that was in the conference room. And so, whatever we're doing in any aspect of, I don't care if I have 10 more people here that are in different segments of their job doing some level of marketing. That's what we're doing here. They're going to always try to remember what was it process that they're working on that they're trying to promote as a part of the client? Is it as a product? Is it something about people? Is it about their location? Like there's something on one of those P's that they need to be considerate of. What?
Yeah, location starts with an L.
It's a place.
Place.
One of the P's.
You said location.
My bad. Place, product, promotion.
I saw the sheet.
I
I saw the sheet.
Yeah.
But like going back to that. So like here, I pulled it up. So teamwork, and we have 2 more like caveats or whatever you want to call them, right? And one of them is encourages individualism. So in a sense, you work as a team.
Individualism.
Yeah, that's a hard word for me to say, apparently. But anyways, encourages individualism and helps first. So we want to work as a team, but
I like it.
Everybody has to be who they are and, take pride in your strength. But at the same time, you got to be willing to help first, so I got my goal is to, teamwork, kind of what it entails, and then find 2 quotes that hits those 2 topics. So helping first and including, encouraging individualism. So Saturday, like I said, those are the days where I get those ideas out of my head all week. I'm more or less thinking about them kind of on my list that I rewrite every single day, which I think comes down to, as you guys know, writing down. I think that's why your planner works so good, is because you write it down. I rewrite that list every single day. And if something is on there, 4 times and I've written it down and I crush up that piece of paper and it's still on my list, it just reiterates that that's something important I need to work on. Yep. So like I said, I give myself more or less the whole week to really think about. And it also helps to, as Sebastian said, when it's family time, it's family time. So by the end of Saturday, usually 12 to 2 o'clock or so, I'll call it a day and go home. By that time, I've emptied my brain of everything that should be work. And now I can actually focus on my family.
Go and be back with your family and be present.
Right. Because as you guys said, I mean, that was me to a T. Earlier we were talking about getting home. Like, dude, I get home at 7 o'clock, bedtime's 8. I literally have enough time to eat dinner. Maybe if the kids got to take a bath, whatever. If my wife didn't already give them a bath, then okay, hurry up and get them a bath, get to sleep because I'm dying right now. And then, it's that whole process. But Saturdays, there's always in the back of your head what it is you need to be working on in the business, what it is that needs to be done next. And a lot of our weekly meetings help get a lot of that out. But we don't have a dedicated time. And just like I'm sure you guys don't either, you don't have a dedicated time to brainstorm, work on a business and really dive into the heart and soul of the business. So as much as I hate working on Saturdays, I hate working on the weekends, period. Without that, I'm not present with my family. So I need that time to really decompress. And then, like I said, I just kind of go into half my Saturday and all of Sunday to be my family's, whatever it is they want, which usually is exhausting in itself, but it makes that time a little bit more meaningful.
It might be exhausting, but I'm sure it's rewarding.
Yeah, for the most part.
Come on now.
No, I mean, it is for the most part. Like, sometimes sometimes it's like mowing the yard, which, yeah, that's rewarding, but at the same time, sometimes I'm like, man,
I've seen your yard. You do better on other people's yards.
I haven't mowed my yard in like 6 weeks, dude. But usually my yard's pretty fresh. But at the same time, it's like,
we haven't had rain until today for like a month and a half.
Yeah,
it's
crazy. Been pretty crazy. But like I said, there's sometimes there's meaningless tasks that aren't necessarily fulfilling to me. Now, if there's like a honeydew where she's like, "Hey, will you fix this? Will you do that?" That's fulfilling. Make the wife happy and whatnot. Do something with the kids. But at this point, mowing the yard, I'm like, yeah, I like it when I have time, but when I don't want to do it. I want to just pay the guys to do it, but frankly, I'm a real business owner. I'm poor still, so I can't afford to pay the guys to do it. So it's more like you just squeeze it in early in the morning before everybody wakes up. But
when it's cool, not 110 degrees outside,
a little sweat never hurt anybody.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps up a lot of our topic today.
I agree.
Time management tips. Talked about everything from, how to organize lists, what to do with your thoughts when you have them, when to come back around on them, and implement a little bit of process into that conversation there too. So,
well, here, let's do this.
Well-rounded there.
One statement of a time management tip from you, Braden. One statement.
Use your calendar as a way to set expectations for yourself, for others, and your team to know, hey, this is what I'm planning on doing the next week, next 2 weeks, whatever it is, day to day, and block out some time to dedicate to those tasks, to that project, whatever it is, reading, and follow through.
Right. Sebastian?
That was like the statement.
Damn.
Yeah, it wasn't like one statement. That was like the statement.
So say it again. You may say it in a little different ways.
Yeah, even if someone else might understand it differently.
Yeah, for sure.
If you agree with it, just say it in your way.
And they may like your voice opposed to mine.
For me, like the most important thing is like in those scheduling of like the week, right? Like you block out specific time for specific types of tasks or family time or whatever it is.
Right.
Like you're saying, like you shut off on Saturdays from 12 to 2. Like that's definitive for you, right? Like there's not anything that's going to really push you past that because there's really nothing that probably needs the attention that second.
Mm-hmm.
You know that your afternoons, your Sundays, like that's family. No one's going to change that. And it's important to have those things where you blocked out that family time or you blocked out whatever time it is for if you're playing golf, if you're doing whatever, working on cars.
Yeah.
That's your time.
Yep.
And it's important because once you start to lose those times or those things that, we're working for our family. We're working for our personal lives, right?
Yeah.
When you start to lose the things that like you're wanting to do, then what are you doing all this for?
Exactly.
Then you just feel busy and you're constantly working on a never-ending to-do list.
Exactly.
So block out time for yourself, for your family, dedicate time. And sometimes people are like, well, I'm being too weird about it. I'm like, no, be a little tedious. Like make sure you block out time to spend with family, spend by yourself, spend with coworkers that need that one-on-one time, or spend time to work on your business, right? And block that out in your calendar and follow through.
100%.
Abel?
Plan your next day today.
Perfect.
That's literally my biggest thing. Plan tomorrow today, and tomorrow goes a lot easier.
100%.
What about yours?
Schedule. Build a schedule. Build your schedule that you want, you know? Even if you have your 8 to 5, build the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then build the 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. You know? You just taking account of your time. How much is your time actually worth?
And some personal routines.
Well, yeah.
That can just help you
Disciplines.
feel efficient. Yeah, and disciplined and stuff like that. And
Disciplinary.
some people really need that.
100%.
And I think especially in our positions too, where you have so much going on all at once. Oh,
That's why the schedule is just the important thing to help your daily life.
Yep.
Absolutely. Otherwise, we're thinking about it like for us, if I don't do these things from 9:30 to 12:30 and 3 to 6, my patient hours,
Yeah.
my mind is wandering,
Gone.
right? It's like, oh man, don't forget about this or don't forget about that. So like I keep a little piece of paper in my office, like a little notepad. I'll flip it over, write whatever's on my mind if it does come up on my mind, but I do not like
Give it the time
dive
of day.
into it.
Right.
Not.
I'll do this later. I'll do this during the hours of 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. when I have it scheduled.
And then flip
But
it
right
back
now, I got to focus my time here.
100%.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to, man.
Man, I love it.
I have one last thing I want to ask. So we're talking about time management. What do you do? Sebastian, I'm going to use you as an example. Hope it's okay. But you have patient hours.
Yeah.
Outside of those patient hours, let's say you're having an extremely stressful day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do in those free hours or non-patient hours that is selfish that you do to help decompress?
Oh man, that's a good one.
Golf.
So you can go golfing between 12 and 3?
No. So for us, like as far as selfishness, I say that laughingly because my wife would probably say she's been waiting for me to admit that is what my time. Like
she's going to hear this. Just so you know.
Oh no, it's great. And we're open books about everything. So for us, like I try to say like on the weekends, like babe, I'm gonna go to golf. There's these guys I'm putting together. I feel like it's a good networking thing, whatever. And she'll look at me and go, golf is for you. It's not networking.
She's reminding you.
That's 4.5 hours that you're spending with these guys when coffee is the same thing as 4.5 hours. So golf is, I love you, babe.
It's not a bad thing.
Golf is really for me. It's my outlet. Yes, I meet people. It's a great way to talk to people, get closer to them. But it is my outlet. Okay. Outside of that, in like a shorter time frame, I like to take on a lunch break a 15-minute nap. It really refreshes my system. It's like a restart button. Then 3 o'clock comes around, and I'm just like ready to go.
Nice. It's like Boss Baby. You just
yeah. I mean, that's what it feels like.
Right. What about you, Brandon?
I don't have a method of decompressing. On my way home from work, way to work, whatever, like in the midst of the day, I don't really have any methods. No, when it comes to the after hours or weekends, I do like to play video games with my boys or with Leslie. That's kind of one of my hobbies that decompresses. Minecraft with her, or Fortnite with the boys, or Call of Duty with one of my brothers. That's kind of my escape a little bit.
So I was asking more like the 15-minute nap, because like I said, between patient hours, something during the day. But Chance,
I'm on my own schedule, man. Mine would personally be meditation. I do meditation every morning. That's my decompression.
Yeah, I'll take a lunch or breakfast by myself.
Nice.
Just literally take my time. I always come back to this, but I'll literally walk in, leave my phone in the car, take a book, go in, order whatever I want, take my sweet time. And as long as I know I'm not going to be getting any calls, of course, that's the only time. But usually that's me. Like instead of a 15-minute nap, I take myself an actual lunch hour. And
just being by yourself and your thoughts and kind of relaxing.
Right.
Yeah.
In what scenario does somebody deserve that immediate response from you? Do you kind of understand that question? Like, as far as like, is there anything that could happen in that day? I mean, like somebody gets hurt, like, yes, I get that.
Right. And you're talking about like if I was leaving my phone in the car, more or less.
Yeah.
So usually I make sure that Brady knows there's enough people in my team that a lot of the fires stop before they ever get to me.
Okay.
So I It doesn't happen whenever there's jobs that I sold that's going on. I mean, whenever there's jobs that I sold that are going on, my phone's on me. But it comes in cycles, and I kind of do it on purpose, kind of not really. But like my other brothers also sell. So there'll be a week where their jobs are on, you know, more or less running that week. And then the next week, my jobs will be running. So like next week, I've got 6 jobs that are all mine that'll be running next week that I'm going to have to manage. I won't get that time to myself unless I know, like all my guys take lunch hour between like 11 to 12. Or if I went and looked at the job site and I know that everybody's good, lined out, that's fine. There's somebody else they can call if they need something. So like if someone gets hurt, for instance, you know, the first person they're going to call is Victor. And as soon as Victor gets a phone call, he's going to call Abraham. And by that time, it's usually just a text letting me know what happened. And then, you know, if I saw it 45 minutes later, well, all right, you guys saw the problem. Awesome.
Yeah. So we're so connected with our phones, right?
Yeah,
It's like
it's terrible.
Everything for us. But what is like 1 hour going to do?
Nothing.
Like if you're going to come back at the end of that hour, you're going to see somebody called you and you can call them back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That hour of time
you didn't used to have that.
is what you need.
And that's why I asked that, you know, because that is it, especially actually, Braden, you're in a I would hate
realm.
to, yes, I would
Yeah.
hate to be as
100%.
connected as you are. But at the same time, you know, you love this. You love that connectivity with everything, or else you wouldn't be doing this work, right? To me personally, I like the idea of, even before, whenever I was in the field, man, you're in the field. Like my phone's usually in the truck because it overheated in my pocket.
Yeah.
So it's not even working.
Yeah.
So my phone's in the truck and I'm out here in the field and nobody's there to bother me. But disconnecting from our phones it's huge.
So when I get a chance to ride my motorcycle, that's what it's like.
There you go.
Put in my
Perfect.
jacket. I can't answer that phone. I mean, I
Zipped
could,
up, bro.
I mean, I could because I got a Bluetooth headset in there.
But you're probably just listening to music, enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
And if I hear it ring, I'm like, nope.
I'll talk
Right.
to you when I stop.
Yeah. If that.
Maybe.
When I get to my destination.
Maybe then
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Now I don't answer my phone when I'm driving. Or when
No,
I'm in
no, I
meetings.
have
Same.
with the people that I talk to consistently, and you're about to be on a special text tone ringtone. Everybody has, because we've been talking so much recently, and probably you too, and probably all three of you guys. We're getting to that point where we're talking so frequently. I need to know how important it is when my phone goes off. So my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters, family and friends, immediate friends. So I've got like 2 friends, and they neither one of them live here. They both live out of the state. Some clients that I talk to frequently, text tone and ringtones. When I hear it, I know
The importance
how
of it.
fast I need to separate from my family to go answer it,
Right.
or whatever, or separate from work to go answer it.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you give a generic tone, you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal if I'm doing something, it's okay. But then you
Yeah.
have those tones that are like,
That's
okay,
my
this
mom.
is someone more important. I have to get to this now.
Yeah, this wife,
I like
girlfriend,
that.
whatever it is, right?
So
do that.
what if Sebastian was to text you and just ask you if you wanted to go golfing? But you set this text tone and now you think it's urgent, but it's really not.
Is he a priority?
I suppose, yeah. I guess if he has a text tone.
Then yeah, I would look at it immediately.
And say, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Or when are we going?
Okay.
Is a beer
And-
on me or
and-
you?
And if I'm with my family at the moment and I know that it's him, well, I'm with my family at the moment. I'll
It
look
can
at
wait
it when I
5
can.
minutes.
It can wait
Yeah.
5
Okay.
minutes. I don't need to hop
Yeah.
out of the pool and answer it.
Right.
You know,
Unacceptable.
no offense.
It's that
Yeah.
do not disturb thing that they just came out with.
I love that.
They have that?
Different work modes, personal modes, gaming modes,
Focus,
things like that.
like-
Focus, like,
Yeah.
and then you can allow that to share with other people too. So
It'll
that's
tell
cool.
you, like when you're trying to
That's what
text
I think
somebody,
is
hey, the notifications are on silent. It'll tells them right there on the message. It's
I need to
kind of
figure out how
nice.
to use that.
So then they know.
Like,
Like, if
oh,
I
he
see
might not
you-
answer, so it's okay.
You don't have an iPhone, so you can't do that.
Well,
It's
sorry,
okay.
my Google phone's way smarter than your
Time to
iPhone.
upgrade.
Probably not wrong.
No, no,
It's just more customizable. That's all it is.
I love my Google phone.
Which
Everything
the new
Google is
iPhone
amazing.
update, the iOS update, it's supposed to be like an Android customization.
I
type
wonder
stuff.
why.
Oh, it's only been 12 years.
All I will say is I used to be Apple.
Okay.
I went to Android. I went back to Apple. Then I went to Google, which is Android platform. I will never go back. It knows more about me than I care to admit. but
You're
it
questioning
is
it, Jay.
amazing.
You're like,
It is amazing how smart the phone is, and I love it. Like just love it.
It goes, hey, you're at home. It's this. If you're at work, it's going to give you
does it all.
notifications.
Right. It does it all. I mean, literally it knows as soon as I get home, like phone goes to vibrate, nothing else works after that. Like it knows more or less as soon as I walk in the office, like it knows I'm going to pull up the schedule for the day, and it brings up my little icon. Boom. There's a schedule. Like it knows so much about me. Like I said, I love it, but at the same time,
it scares you.
Yeah, well, there's really nothing I'm hiding. I mean, come on, government, bring it on. Like,
dang.
There was a while there, every time I get in the car, plug my phone in, and first address that it would send. Sometimes, like, no, it'd be the golf course.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh, no.
Love
now
that.
it's a little different, but.
Mine just, as soon as I get in the car in the morning, it's like 12 minutes to lifetime. I'm like, all right, I know where I'm going.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. Honestly, it is. But again, when it comes down to my personal life, like there's nothing my phone. Like I could care less. The government's watching. Well, okay. Not very interesting. Yeah. You know, I'm building a business, but there's no secret to say it out loud to the world, whatever it is you want to know.
Right.
I'm not like evading taxes or anything. Like everything I'm doing.
Pay
is
my
100%.
taxes every month, man.
Yeah.
Yo.
Right. Like it's, there's nothing I'm hiding. So at this point I'm like, phone, you do what you got to do to be smart. And it's helpful. It helps with the time management when the phone knows what I need to be done.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's your Brews and Business podcast.
I think that was beautiful.
Yeah. Braden Cruz, Sooner Marketing.
Abel Rodriguez, ARC Outdoorsman.
Chance Jones, Threaded Industries.
Sebastian Ledoux, Hayes Chiropractic and Acupuncture.
We'll see you next time. Yeah.
Yep.
See
Thanks,
ya.
sir.